All right, I'd call to order the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority, April 4th, 2022 at 6:15. Roll call, please.
Wines. Marshall. White.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Dillbeck.
Here.
Bond.
Here.
Coldarn.
Here.
Stroller.
Here, I do declare a quorum. Will you join me in the invocation, please? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to gather and do the city's business. Thank you for the group of people that the city has elected to conduct this business. And I ask that we all keep our minds open and listen to each other share our ideas for the city. And we pray that everything is done to glorify you and your Son. Pray this through his name. Amen. Item number 1 is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dillbeck.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Thank you. Item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the PMA this evening. Hearing none. Item 5, proclamation, commendation, reports and inquiries by the governing body. Item 6, presentation from John Van Zant with OMPA concerning demand charges for large commercial industrial customers. Sir? Thank you.
Good
for coming.
evening, everybody. You're welcome. I'm happy to be here. We're going to have the presentation up there. Does everybody have a copy? No, okay. The city asked me to take a look at your rate, and we did. And I worked closely with Russ and other city employees. And what we decided was that the most important thing to do was to develop a demand rate for large commercial and industrial customers. You do have a demand rate already, but only Toro is on it right now. So, next slide. Why have a demand charge for large customers? Not all customers use electricity in the same way. And how they use the electricity can have a significant impact on your power cost to serve those customers. Their demand upon your electric system can be measured and used to develop rates to properly charge your costs to serve those customers. If you bill strictly on kilowatt hours, that can result in some significant undercollection of costs with customers that have poor load factors, and I'm going to explain what a load factor is in just a little bit. Perry pays demand charges to OMPA. We have 2 demand charges, a fixed production costs demand charge and a transmission demand charge. So you all are paying OMPA as part of your power cost for demand. And that's why you would like to get a demand rate for your customers, big customers, that would better reflect what it actually costs to serve those customers. Customers with high demand but relatively low kWh, those are poor load factor customers, cost much more than, and I'll have an example a little later on, much more than customers with the same demand but much more kWh. That's a good load factor. And the way a load factor is calculated is it's the average hourly demand in a month or in a year, average hourly demand divided by the peak demand. And that would be the highest hour of the month. If you were doing a monthly load factor, you could calculate what on average does that customer use, and then what was the very highest hour of usage. So a good load factor is normally 60, 70, 80%, and you have some customers like that. If you get 50% is not too good, 40% is poor, and anything below 40% is really poor load factor. Those customers with the poor load factors are costing you a lot more than the ones with the good load factors to serve. And that's just taking into consideration what you pay OMPA for the electricity to serve those customers. Go back one, yeah. Large commercial industrial demand rate. So I'd like for y'all to consider a new rate for large commercial customers, and this will apply to customers that average greater than 200,000 kilowatt hours a year. There's about 30 customers that you currently have that would qualify. Load factors for these customers vary between 26.8% and 75.1%. Toro, who is currently on a demand rate, would be put on this proposed rate as well. So they're part of the 30. Good. Now this is an example of what it costs you to serve low and high load factors. So in the column to the left is a low load factor customer, and I just picked out the number that was the lowest of all those 30. It's 26.8%, and the highest load factor that you had was 75.1%. Just assume they both use 40,000 kilowatt hours. So under your current billing system, these customers would have the exact same bill because they both used 40,000 kWh. But the KW, and that's their peak. That's would be the peak usage for the month. The one with the poor load factor is using, this is a demand, their highest hour was 207 kilowatts. And for the one with the good load factor, it's 74 kilowatts. So what do you pay OMPA? You would pay $1,440 for the load factor. Oh, this is the KWH charge, I'm sorry. So for the KWH that we, OMPA charges you, it's the same under either customer. But on our OMPA demand charges, you'd have $2,094 for the one with the low load factor, and only $747 for the one with the high load factor. That works out to cents per kilowatt hour, and this is what you're paying OMPA. It's 8.83 cents per kilowatt hour for the one with the low load factor, and with the high load factor, you're only paying us 5.47 cents. So it's more than 3 cents per kilowatt hour. It's more than 50% more. But these customers are receiving identical bills, even though it costs 50% more to serve the one with the low load factor, poor load factor. Going to the next page. So these are your current rates compared to the proposed. So right now you have a regular commercial rate, and everybody except for Toro is on this rate. Customer charge of $20.17. First 2,000 kWh, 13.4, and then over 2,000 kWh, 10.5 cents per kilowatt hour. The industrial rate is the customer charge is $158.22. Then all kilowatt hours are billed at 9.4 cents a kilowatt hour, and you do have a demand charge of $5.38. So what I have proposed is a customer charge of $150. All kilowatt hours would be billed at only 8 cents a kilowatt hour. But you would have a demand charge of $9.5 per kW. So you take that highest hour and you charge take it and multiply it by 9.5, and that would be the demand charge. And what this will do is you'll charge the ones with the good load factors less than you charge the ones with the poor load factors. Follow me on that? So in the very last slide, we have a chart here where I'm trying to explain how this would work on various different load factors. Currently, all these customers together are paying about 10.7 cents a kilowatt hour. That's what it all averages out to be. Now, the ones with poor load factors are going to see a fairly significant increase. That 10.7 cents will go up to 11.67 cents. That's a 9% increase for the ones with the poor load factors. But they are, remember, they're costing you 50% more than the ones with the good load factors. Once you get up to 50%, it's more modest. It's only 3%. And I believe probably around 55%, there's really no change at all. 60%, they pay less, 1.1%. 70% load factor, good load factor, they pay 4.1% less. And then at an 80% load factor, they pay 6.3% less. These changes are all revenue neutral though, but you do have one large customer that's going to save money. Your biggest customer will save money under this rate. So that is, any questions?
In addition to this, we're going to
Yeah.
place one of these demand charges on our electric
Yeah.
fill stations, Tesla. And
Right, and they can have really high demand sometimes, and if they get on your peak, and there's a bunch of cars charging out there, it's just amazing how much higher, your OMPA bill will go to serve those customers. So that needs to be on a demand rate too. So I think the criteria is really greater than 200,000 or electric charging stations. That's how we'd set it up.
How many customers do we have that, do you know how many customers? we
Yes,
have
there's
that-
30.
30 customers.
30 customers. Those are your 30 largest customers. And Toro's included in that group. But I really do believe that it's important to do this, just because these ones with poor load factors are costing you so much more money than the ones with the good load factors. If you look at that last slide again, you can see you're still making actually more money, gross profit wise, on the ones with, because we saw that the cost could be as much as a 3-cent difference. But you can see here that, the one with the poor load factor at 40% is only paying 1.67 cents per kilowatt hour more than the one with the real good load factor.
When you say they're costing us money,
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily mean we're eating it, right?
No, you just have a much smaller gross profit margin on those
Right.
customers.
Okay.
For instance, let's say right now, the average that you charge these customers is 10.7. So if you look back, if we go back to that cost example, this page right here. So you're still making money, but what is that? It's near 9 and you're charging 10.7, so.
But this change will be revenue neutral, is what you said.
It's all revenue neutral, yeah.
I think what you said,
All these 30 customers taken together, you'll be bringing in the same amount of revenue as you were before. But in my mind, it's much more equitable.
But it's not, so it's costing us money, but it's not making us money.
Well, so the ones that get the decreases
Right.
offset the ones that are getting the increases,
Right.
yeah.
and your point is it should be, because they're the ones that are getting the decreases are costing us the
Right.
least.
That's right. They're costing you the least and you'll charge them the least. And the ones with the poor load factors are costing you the most and you'll charge them the most. I'm a big believer in demand rates. Because I just think it's more equitable. If somebody's costing you more money, they gotta pay more money.
How do they change that?
Well, they can take steps to try to lower their peaks. You know, some people are in some, I don't know, operations where they have a machine that doesn't run I don't know exactly, but doesn't run very often, but when it does run,
It's right during the peak hour.
yeah, and it's, they can have this surge in electricity usage, but it doesn't run all that much, and then it's back down, and then they're low most of the.
What are the peak hours in our area?
They normally occur between 5 and that's 3 to 6
3 to
in the
6.
afternoons on the hottest days of the summer. That's when they occur. And what we do is we take Perry's peak demand, and you're paying us for your peak demand.
Right.
And so that's trying to more equitably distribute that expense of yours to your customers.
Any questions, council, authority, members? Do we want some time to think about this, or do we want to study it, or do we want to take action? What do you all feel comfortable with?
we intend, there's no action to
Right.
take tonight. We intend to bring you our electric rate ordinance at the next meeting. It will be just this piece. It will affect, folks with more than 200,000 kilowatt hours plus electric charging stations. And we'll have that, on the agenda to do consider, and then you can make a decision from there what you want to do. We can, it's essentially, as I understand, $40,000, correct? I mean,
What's that?
Somebody's getting a $40,000 savings, and
Yeah, your largest customer is getting a $40,000 savings.
A year?
a year, yeah. So it's, in the scheme of things, with how much money we're making, it's small. Perhaps to the individual customer, you said 9%, but
Yeah.
we really want to implement something like this if it's the council's decision, and then we think it's so important to get that done to the charging stations, because we just don't want to see our peak on that hottest day. We got to pay that all year,
Yeah, you do.
and so
There has been times I've drove by there and seen 4 or 5 cars out there charging at one time.
well, if it's a hot August day between 3 and 6. Everyone's going to pay for that all year round. So,
That's right.
and we've had it for a number of years, but it's time to change that. And I think that the Toro will appreciate the consideration. I mean, they're our biggest business. I mean, I don't know that they've ever seen a rate decrease. It's not a significant amount, but it does reflect, their lower cost to us, and we have something to pass back. So that's what our thinking is.
I get the charging stations, but I would also like to see some more data on how that's going to affect the 29 others.
Okay.
At the very least, in figuring out how it's not possibly all at once, or a big jolt, I guess, is what I'm.
Yeah, I mean, although we can't really identify names with accounts, we could identify numbers with accounts. I mean, to be an open record, and we could show you how much the one with the worst, the worst example, how much they would go up,
Right.
what kind of dollars we're talking about, so that you can at least be comfortable that you're not doing it. But we try not to associate names with numbers for privacy reasons.
No, right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that we don't
Yeah.
incur a big jolt
We
right after.
can, we can bring, that's something we can do, correct?
I can
I
provide
mean, you
you
can
with
provide that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
And I guess I can send it to you and to
Yeah.
Christie, and y'all can take it from there. Russ.
Any other questions?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, you're
Thank you
welcome.
for making your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
All right.
Item number 7, any new business that needs to come before the PMA this evening? Item 8, motion on adjournment.
So moved.
Roll call.
White,
Yes.
Brown. Yes. Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. I call over the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry, April 4th, 2022, at 6:36, please. Roll call.
Wines, Marshall, White,
Here.
Brown. Here. Dilbeck. Here. Vaughn,
Here.
Goldar,
Here.
Stroller.
Here. I do declare a quorum. Item 1 is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
Roll call, please.
White,
Yes.
Brown. Yes. Dilbeck,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the city agenda this evening.
Hello. I didn't hear from nobody about whether or not they were gonna be here. When I talked to Bryce, he said that he would let me know if they were gonna be here. And I talked to you on the phone, you said you would call or send me an email. And I've checked and nobody let me know anything, so I thought maybe the engineers were gonna be here today.
No, we had nothing to report.
Okay. Do you know when they're gonna be here, when we're gonna know something?
Bryce, give me an idea.
Yeah. I've received 2 emails. All survey was completed and reviewed. Model is being created this week to allow us to start modeling existing flows next week. Late next week, we will start to review allowable flows through the drainage ditch. At that point, we will most likely have a meeting with you and Larry to show you what we are seeing in the model and decide how to proceed. That was on 3/22. This email just came on Friday, late in the day. Gentlemen, attached is a map showing the model of existing conditions for 2nd Street drainage area. We have been working on calibrating it to use as a baseline for the ditch improvements. The map only shows the 2-year rain event. Since it already shows significant issues, we are not showing more severe events. There is no surprise that the model confirms the flooding issues at the corner house. It does also show that downstream houses, as well as Maple Street, are seeing high water flows. This has shown that the issue not only affects the ditch, but Maple Street as well. We have started to model a new drainage ditch between Maple and Tower. Initial models are showing that it will be a significant challenge to improve the ditch without adversely impacting the eastern houses. I hope to be able to set up a conference call next week to discuss what an improved ditch looks like. And on Friday, when he sent that, I called and said, are you prepared to come to the meeting? And he said, no, we would like to have more modeling so that we can come there with something concrete. And that was at, let me see. Oh no, that was at 10:53 a.m. So it is proceeding. They are doing the model, and they are trying to come up with, what the solution would be. That, of course, is what we're looking for, and what the estimated cost would be, and then, of course, how we could fund that. Russ and I did go by your house during one of the rains that we had. The rain would have been
2 Mondays ago.
2 meetings ago, yeah, that Monday, where it was really coming down hard, and your berm looks like it was doing its job during the time that we were there, which was it was a while into the rain. It did look like the rain was coming through your driveway, where of course you don't have the berm, but it looks like the berm that you created is protecting your home, at least in this interim period. So, as soon as our engineers can bring that model to us, we intend to have it on the agenda. Now, you had said I was advising your attorney, when you had an attorney, of these things, and he told me he was going to send you those emails that I had. I did forward those emails to you. You did receive that, correct?
Yeah, when I left here, I got on the phone. He also, the one email he forwarded me that morning, you sent me the same email, one email,
Yeah.
I have it.
Yeah. I know
I'm
that.
still talking to Isaac, and he, like I said, he forwarded me that one email. He's taken me as far as he can in this situation. Now I need to figure out the water that comes over my driveway in the front of my house is from all the water that puddles in the front. The easement is doing its job from the water that comes from the north. Water runs downhill. We know that. There's two huge major problems that flood my house. That's why the sandbags are there. The sandbags are tore open. The city drives by, they see some of it's because they've been sitting out there since October. Some of it's because the kids have tore them, I'm sure. When I see them messing with them, I tell them, please don't do that, don't tear them up. I need them for the reasons. I'm at a point now where I'm hoping that we're all on this same field here. We're wanting to fix it. It's going to be time. That's why I don't have an attorney, because I agreed to work with you guys. And there's no reason to keep him standing by when this is going to take phases, as she explained to me. This is going to take steps. I just don't think I need to come here constantly and have the city come clean the mud and all the stuff that gets washed in front of my house when we have engineers saying there's a flooding problem, when I'm telling you there's a flooding problem, when my house is flooded. I got envelopes of receipts of stuff I've had to fix. I still don't have a vanity because water's still less than a year ago. My house is flooded. That recent. I've been fighting with him since 2019. That's 2 floods that we know of. I just don't want to have to do this. If you guys keep me up on it when people are coming here and you let me know the process and things are going and treat me decent as a taxpayer like I am here, then I don't want to do this. I just want it to keep going. I can't sit back and let you guys act like it's nothing. I need to know what you guys are going to do so I know what I need to do.
Well, I have
where I'm
continued
at.
since the last meeting to keep on our engineer, and I've called him, and he has made, these 2 responses.
Okay.
Because our meeting was on the 21st, the first response was on the 22nd. And then I called him again because I wanted to know if there would be something on this meeting. I didn't know, and I didn't remember saying that it would be on this meeting. I think that what I remember is telling you that if there's something on the meeting, we will, of course, advise you. We want you to be here when there's something on the meeting. I didn't know that every time we have a meeting, I need to tell you if it's on or not.
No, I don't
Oh,
want to come to
but-
every meeting,
Right,
only
of
that
course.
pertain to the
And-
drainages.
Exactly, and that's what we'll do. If it's on the agenda, I will be emailing you. And I'll also provide you the document that we're providing the council, because at that point, it's a public record. I'd be happy to provide you that.
I would appreciate
Yeah.
that. Does that sound like a plan? Can we do that? I would appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Debbie. Item 5, proclamations, combination reports, inquiries by the governing body. I have been catching a little grief from the public about the situation that the Blue Peak contractors have been leaving here in Perry, in people's yards. And I've had a discussion with Larry. We're gonna take some action, try to set up some kind of a way for the citizens to report to us if they have problems in their yards. And we can compile a list and get that to Blue Peak or to the contractor, somebody, to get that fixed. So if you guys hear of anything, get in touch with Larry. Let him, he's compiling a list. We're gonna do some kind of, what we're thinking, emails and Facebook and
Actually, I spoke with two of the guys from Blue Peak last week. I gave them the list that I had and provided another small list today, along with phone numbers. They have contacted those on the first list and made arrangements for them for the repairs. And they said that they got in touch with everyone and made an arrangement that was on the list except for one. And they left a voicemail for that.
so if you guys hear of anyone, just get in touch with Larry and we'll get that sewed up hopefully.
Is there a formal, like, should they just call City Hall?
Is that what you want them to do?
Yeah, just call City Hall.
Okay,
Need name, phone number, address.
thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. Item 6, consider nomination and appointment for a Ward 1, Post 1 council person. Gloria and I have been stretching our minds, trying to figure out somebody. We've had a couple of different ideas today, but nothing. So we have till next meeting, Bryce? And then we have to go back to election again?
I don't know if this has ever happened anywhere before. I've never heard of it happening where it went back to election, but when you read the statute, that's what it looks like.
Does it cost us money to,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know to have an election, but just for a filing, is there, because if no one files, there's no ballots made, or there's no, I don't know, at what point does it cost us money?
Well, I don't know that I've ever not had an election, and I'm not in the receipt of invoice business,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right. Elections cost ballots and cost personnel,
Yeah.
and then there's gotta be some, basic charge, so, because their staff do work on it. I'm hopeful if we can find someone, perhaps before April 17th, because we have 13 more days. We could maybe have a special meeting and appoint.
Okay.
Seems like that ward has such limited people that would probably be willing to serve, or it's just hard. And to not be able to have names and addresses of people that
Yeah.
live in there, That
Well,
would make a lot of difference if I knew who lived in those houses.
Well, that Act Data Scout, I think Jeanette brought it up, but Act Data Scout,
Huh?
Act Data Scout, you can see who lives at each house.
Act,
on the-
Data Scout?
Yeah, on the internet. We
Is that
can
an
talk
app?
about it afterwards.
Okay,
But,
that would help.
yeah, you can look. I used to drive around. Just see. We tried to even those numbers up as good as we could too, and it's
Yeah,
been
I'm-
difficult.
It's just a difficult ward.
which is unfortunate.
Must go down and start knocking on doors, Gloria.
Well, I thought about it. Just don't know what I'm gonna contact.
Yeah. Gloria came up with a couple of great names, but just how it kind of jogs just right, you know.
That's the other.
They were in a different ward, so. All right, item number 7, I hate to go here, but, consider approval of ordinance number 2022-07, the city council of the city of Perry, amending chapter 5, section 5-102 of the city of Perry Municipal Code 2022, entitled Action and Charges for International Building Code, setting a fee for commencement work before required permits is issued, providing for repealer savings codification, several bidding, and declaring emergency.
If you remember, the last time we brought you an ordinance that had 2 parts. One was of the adoption of the 2018 International Property Maintenance Code, which you agreed to approve, and we did approve that night. The second one, where we had extended conversation about, was this one: if somebody comes to town and commences work without a permit, should they be charged a fee? And the fee was $300. You know, I was arguing that, you know, $100 would, you know, probably be enough. I think what came out of that discussion was that it's standard fare to double the fee. And I think that what Brian had said at that meeting is that most permits are $25, so that you would pay, you know, a $50 fee, just something to remind you to come down and get a permit before. Now, we talked about this at length. If you guys hate this, then you don't have to take it off the table, okay? And you could just do nothing, not take it off the table, then you don't talk about it. And when you table something, I'm only gonna bring it back once unless somebody asks. If you don't take it off the table, then we're just gonna roll on to number 8. If you do want to, someone needs to make a motion to take it off the table, to discuss it now and see whether or not you wanna do it. I suppose the other thing you could do, you only have 6 of you, so you couldn't pass the emergency even if you wanted it, so it'd cost you more to publish it. I suppose you could continue it to the next meeting, or we could just put it on the agenda and see what it went. But what I did is I took it to what is standard fare, and to see if there was any interest at that level.
The fear I have is we charge one contractor for not getting it, but we forgive the other one. So if that's what we're gonna do, we just don't need a fee at all. But I think the fee, if your fee is, gonna do it, and the fee's only $25 to $50, it's not even worth it.
Well,
I think the minimum's gotta be $100 if you're gonna do it, I think.
Well, if there's no motion to take it off the table, Mayor, you need to move to the next item. I didn't hear a motion, so, unless there is one. No.
I've never heard you say that before, okay? To
Well,
take it off the table?
Yeah.
It's just an item.
Yeah, but you tabled it, and.
I did?
You tabled it the
We-
last meeting.
we-
And we're
Yeah.
gonna start doing that, because we're not gonna talk.
So I was assuming it was back on the table.
We're not gonna talk about ducks for 8 meetings, you know? Or Canada geese, I guess that's what it was. I mean, so,
I can't recall, but we didn't put a stipulation on that table, right? We just tabled it?
on this one you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't to the next meeting.
Right.
I just felt if there was any action in it, we could bring it back, and then if you wanted to take it off the table and consider it, but
Most well, we can't talk about it unless we're on the table.
that's what I'm saying, you know, because if not, you know, if you're not interested in it, you shouldn't take it off the table.
All right, item 8.
Okay.
SMCA, Perry Hospital discussion and direct action as appropriate.
Well, this is reminding everyone that we're less than 362 days before theoretically the hospital could close. And that's not to put a scare out, it's just that 4 years and 3 days ago, we did such a good job, the council did such a good job of continuing the hospital in the community that it was seamless. And nobody really recognized that there was an emergency in the community, but we had been working on it for a while. Well, that time is about to run. The great thing is that we have Stillwater as a partner, and they are interested in extending that term. But part of they're Stillwater-based hospital, and their position is that if they're going to go assist other communities, and particularly be the operator and be responsible for any loss, then that community needs to provide a building which will serve their needs, help them with cut costs, and won't have failing HVAC systems and plumbing systems and walls and roofs and the like. The hospital's a beautiful place. I mean, I haven't ever been in there a lot. I've been in there several times in the last few weeks. And when you really look at it, it's built like this, these nice doors, and it's got sprinklers, an emergency room. It's a nice place. It's a really nice building. In fact, we were talking today, if it wasn't used for, that hospital purpose, it's a fine building to have administrative offices. I mean, it's a nice building. But to operate a hospital today, you don't need a building that's that big. You don't need that many rooms, and it needs to be set up in a manner in which you can come in, you go emergency room one side, you go to the rural health clinic, or the clinics to the other side. You can have one team of doctors, one team of nurses, and not scattered all over the building. In discussion with them today, a lot of the patients are way on out with 2 nurses there, and then a nurse down in the ER, and there just need to be some things that are simplified. In addition, the HVAC systems and some of the systems, have reached their life. I mean, you can continue to use it, but there's a problem. 25 years, 30 years, we've learned about that on fire trucks, right? I mean, at some point you just can't keep running it. So I think that there needs to be a reinvestment, and there are parties that are interested in making that reinvestment, and there are opportunities for the balance of the building, which we're really not going to discuss today, but in this open session, but we're going to discuss tonight in the executive session, because some of that involves economic development and expansion of existing business, and I have a very good thing to tell you that you'll be very excited about in executive session with respect to that prospect. But what's it going to take, to do this, to remodel this building? What's going to take? 2 major things. One, probably about $6.2 million, of which we have we believe a large portion of that may be assisted to by the community foundation that keeps helping us, the Malzahn Family Affiliated Trust. We've had discussions with them. There's nothing permanent. There's no final anything there, but I think that they do agree that having a hospital in the community is a top priority. We also have the opportunity to do a new market tax credit issue, which could produce up to $1 million to be applied to that remodel. We have participation from Toro that we have received, and then of course we have the city I think that we've identified this as being our number one priority, keeping a hospital in this community. And if you remember, the last time, Stillwater agreed to step up and be the operator of this facility, and we didn't provide them anything except for the building. And then, they had some losses, and they had some early losses. The losses aren't quite like that anymore, but there's still losses, And what we did is we went to the people and we asked the public, would you agree to a 1% hospital sales tax to help us assist us? Just to be, kind to Stillwater and to be fair. And the public responded with an 80% vote and approved it. And that has really helped Stillwater, and it's helped with their attitude about wanting to stay here and assist us with our hospital. And of course, they're the ones responsible for any loss. And what a time, the last 5 years have been. We've seen the expansion of Medicare, which we didn't know if would happen. It went to a vote of the public. The public approved that, Medicaid, Medicare, and the hospitals were the beneficiary. Had we not saved the hospital at that point, we wouldn't have had that happen. And that has provided some assistance. And we've also had COVID, which improved some, but then there's people that don't go in and get, because they're afraid of COVID, they don't go in and get testing done and don't get procedures done because of COVID. So it's been a real mixed bag. This has been a tough a 4-year period. And I don't know that it's really historical of what can be, what can be in the future. But the second thing that we need to have, not only put the money together in a financing to assist with remodeling the building, to make it more cost effective, but the second thing is we have to extend the sales tax. The sales tax terminates July 1st, 2024. And, to show good faith to Stillwater, I've given you some dates here. We really need to talk about placing an election on the ballot by June 8th if we want to have this election August 23rd. Remember, March 31st, 2023, the lease is over. And, everybody can make whatever decision they want at that point. So I want to show Stillwater that this community wants a hospital, that the public is willing to stand on the line about the hospital, and in case for some reason that doesn't happen, that we've got a second opportunity, because you have to put 6 months between sales tax elections. Okay, so those are the two things that we need at this time. I'm working on both of that financing and on the continuation of the operation and lease agreement with Stillwater. Now, one of the things that we have in the current operation lease agreement is if there's any big ticket items, like HVAC goes down, or the roof comes off, or something. It's not really triple net back to Stillwater. We have to help. So that's one of the major changes that I'd like to see in this next agreement, and I think that Stillwater will agree, is that once we get this built, we'll have insurance on it, but it's Stillwater's not problem. It's their business. It's triple net back to them, meaning any addition they will pay during that term. We have discussed periods of extension, which are longer than the current extension that we got this time. But it's all in a negotiation. So the purpose of this meeting is to publicly discuss what's coming and let the public know. And I think probably we will continue this. It's April 4th. We've got another meeting in April. We've got 2 meetings in June, and then we need to call an election. So, a time for the public to come, to ask questions, and as these items come together, we'll bring you additional information about them. That's really the story. Are there any questions?
Well, I appreciate you working hard on this, because it's
Yeah.
very important to the public. I appreciate the connection you got there too. Any questions?
Do we need any?
No, I don't think any action.
Direction from,
No, unless you tell me otherwise. You've already told me this is a top priority, so this is what we're working on.
Keep working your magic.
Right.
Item 9, consider payment to Myers Engineering Consulting Engineering Incorporated for engineering, surveying, staking service on the water main replacement project in the amount of $42,506.46. I seen them working today. Still out there working. Motion approved.
Motion to approve payment to Myers Engineering.
Second.
Roll call, please.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
yes,
Stroller,
Yes, thank you. Item 10, consider payment to Cowan Group Engineering LLC for the Perry GIS mapping proposed in the amount of $6,204.
Motion to approve Cowan Group Engineering payment of $6,204.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Goldar,
yes,
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Consider approval of public construction contract with Horseshoe Construction Incorporated in the amount of $549,785 for the citywide sanitary sewer phase 5 capital improvement project. This is, go ahead, Bryce.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, let me tell you exactly where this project is. And I think I would be comfortable saying that you could award the contract tonight. It's time to let the bidder know. We told them that they got the bid, but it's time to enter into the contract. We have all the temporary construction easements except maybe one. Yeah, and we've been promised, and he brought in this temporary construction easement, and he's promised to bring by the easement to both David Payne and I think to you, and that's the one that we need to get. So I don't think there's gonna be any issue with that one remaining. There is an issue in coming across one of the properties, and that is, and I'm not gonna mention who it is, but it kind of comes across his property east-west and then goes north-south. And it's one of the larger properties there. And he was hoping to extend improvements of his house south. And it's pretty much right over the sewer line. So at the request of Larry, I have gotten my surveyor involved, and I've asked one of the engineers that we have on contract to take a look at what it would cost if we cut across, with a dug a line, actually amended the plan, and got issued an amended permit by DEQ. And if there's a difference in the cost, somebody else pays for it. The person who benefit. Because you understand, pipe bursting isn't cheap, and this distance, versus this distance, it's less, but there still may be an upcharge in it. And so those things are going on. If that happens, it's gonna be a change order under the contract. If it doesn't, then we're just gonna proceed to do what we intended to do in the first place. But we're working that right now. But that, of course, wasn't part of the plan, so it's gotta be engineered, and it's gotta be, there's a permit has to be,
Sorry, could you say that again?
a permit has to be acquired, and so we're kind of feeling out that process right now. But Horseshoe was a low bid. You've awarded the contract. The public has been tremendous in responding. Don't you think, Larry, to the letters
Yes.
that we've asked? They've been very, very helpful. And there's one easement that we don't have, but it's been promised, and David Payne said he's going to go pick it up today. And I wouldn't say do it if it hadn't been promised to both the clerk and to David Payne. So I do think it's time to authorize it. I would just say that your motion, for some reason, I've been working on so many projects, I haven't had a chance to approve the bonds and the insurance. I want to do that check before, so if you could make a motion, if you want to award the contract, subject to the city attorney's review of the bonds and insurance, that would be an appropriate motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 12, consider approval of resolution number 2022-05 of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, and municipal corporation, electing the standard allowance available under the revenue loss provision of the coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund established under the American Rescue Plan Act.
Meredith?
You're the one who wrote the resolution, but yeah.
Yes,
So.
Oh,
these
throw it
are
at him, girl.
I
I
did.
mean, these are our ARPA funds.
You don't want your turn?
I just make things longer. No, actually, he makes things longer, right? So I should. do it.
Exactly,
Yes.
you just keep talking and let him sit there for a while.
So under the final rule, which is actually called the interim final rule, we can now select a option for revenue replacement for the use of our ARPA funds. Up to $10 million, which no municipality in the state of Oklahoma received more than $10 million, or close to $10 million. But, so this option allows for a easier reporting structure and less support required, basically. So the resolution basically states that, which Bryce wrote, how we are planning to use these funds, and that as lost revenue. So therefore, we will be able to simplify our reporting process, which is due April 30th. What else you want to know about it? Bryce, you want to read him the resolution, word for word?
Oh, no, I think that's good, and we can do this since it's past April 1st.
Yes.
I mean, these didn't become final till April 1st, so yes, you should approve this resolution.
Motion to approve resolution 2022-05.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
White,
Yes.
Brown, Dilbeck,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 13, consider award of the ambulance bid to Wayne Banner Fire in the amount of $199,805. That is not the lowest bidder, but I was explained to me that the lowest bidder pulled their bid. So now they are the lowest bidder.
And we have gotten the report that this will not be ready till December. Is that correct, Chief?
Projected dates will be 6 to 8 months, but we're, again, at the mercy of equipment.
But until you order,
That's right. Yeah.
any news on the fire truck?
No news, no news, no, sir.
Council?
We are gonna have to designate where the additional funds will come from. Meredith, do you have a,
If we want to use ARPA for this, that is an option, or reserves.
ARPA sounds good. Especially with the fuel regulations and restrictions that they have now, which I think for a number of municipalities is a godsend.
What do you want to do?
Motion to award bid to Wayne Banner Fire in the amount of $199,805, with the additional funds coming from ARPA.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dobek,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Strelitz.
Yes, thank you. Item 14, any new business that needs to come before the council this evening? Hearing none. Item 15, consider convening an executive session. 1, to confer on a matter pertaining to economic development of the city of Perry, to discuss a proposal to entice the location of residential developer to the community to build single-family dwellings, duplexes, and multifamily housing, and thereby approve the economic development of the city of Perry as a public disclosure. The proposal will interfere with the development and implementation of the proposal, which is the Woods property pursuant to 25 OS 307 C11 Oklahoma statutes as amended. Number 2, to discuss the appraisal and purchase of certain real property related to the Upper Black Bear Watershed Project pursuant to Title 25, Section 307 B3 of the Oklahoma statutes as amended. And number 3, to confer on a matter pertaining to the economic development of the city of Perry, to discuss the proposal of remodel and extending the lease of the hospital, and thereby approve the economic development of the city as a public disclosure. The proposal will interfere with the development and implementation of the proposal pursuant to 25 OS 307 C11 Oklahoma statutes as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
White,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Dobek,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Strelitz.
Yes. Item 16, a motion to reconvene in the regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
White.
Here.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item 17, take any action deemed necessary pursuant to executive session. 18, motion on adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
White.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yep. Thank you.